so that you are not only reviewing what we're going over briefly, but also preparing to take some new notes on a few more grammatical structures, simple sentence structure, and the like, okay? Some parts of speech. So let's get through a couple of those things. Well, let's see what you guys have learned. So our review starts out with some basic information, okay? The first information that we studied had to do with subject, audience, and purpose. Remember that? What do I mean by those three things? Who can help me out? Let's see. Let's just do a little review. I want to make sure that everybody's on the same page. Make sure that we've all been paying attention in class, and that we are aware of these particular topics. Okay? Subject. What does subject mean, Amanda? Subject.
It tells what the action. Tells the reader what the actor's doing.
Good, nice. It tells the reader what the actor's doing. And in a paragraph, the subject, you learned over the weekend, I'm hoping, when you read your homework assignment, that the subject can be a singular thing that an entire paragraph is built around. Correct?
Yeah.
Right? Like Joe ran over the speed bump with his car. Okay, the next sentence could have to do with Joe's car being broken. It could have to do with Joe's car needing to go to the shop. It could have to do with him renting a new car. But the main subject of that paragraph was what? Joe. Right? Joe. Okay. Now, subject in a sentence is something different because it's just a singular noun or pronoun that does the acting. Right? Does the acting or connects to the verb, which then connects to the object, and we're going to get to that. What about audience? How is audience important when we write? Muriel, how is audience important? Why do you think audience is important? What does that even mean? What's an audience? You don't know what an audience is? Yeah, there you go. It's people, right? It's a group of people watching or reading or paying attention to something. Isn't that true? Yeah. Good. Okay, so an audience is all of these things. It's a group of people or an individual, right? Why does that matter when you write?
So you can write in a context that the audience will be able to understand or won't be offended by.
Good. If your audience is a preschooler, you're not going to use words like exacerbate.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know what that means, mister. And then if you're going to have a college student, you probably won't say the cat is furry. Okay? Because that's probably a little bit below college level. But we're working on it, so we're going to get there. Somewhere in between is probably good. What about purpose? What about the purpose? What does that mean? So what do you think? Purpose. When we write, why does that matter?
There have to be a message, like in each article. So, like, when we write something, so we have the purpose to write it. And
what else? What else are you trying to convey to the reader? What are you trying to tell the reader by writing something? For instance, if you wrote a paragraph about, say, a family member who was sick, what would be the point of telling someone that in a writing assignment? What would be the point?
The point is to understand them, how it happens.
Okay.
And what to do to, like, prevent the other people not to get sick.
So your purpose is to explain and to prevent others from having a similar experience, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, now if I were to write a paragraph about your particular point of view on, say, politics, you would be doing what with someone? What would you be doing? That would be to what?
Debate or your opinion.
To debate?
Yeah.
To express your opinion?
Yeah.
Or to argue, right?
Right.
Good. These are all the purposes of writing. They matter because they change the way that we write. Okay, they change the way that we write. We want to convince someone of something, we're not just going to tell them the facts. We're also going to include our opinion, correct? Good. So these are some of the things we've learned. Again, this is review. Now, we talked about 4 distinct stages of writing. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
We did a little brief exercise in it. We need to return to it. 4 distinct stages of writing. What was the first stage of writing, Sebastian? No, that's tense. But that's all right. That's okay. We write by first formulating our opinions and our ideas, right? Don't we do that? We have to come up with the ideas creatively, don't we? How do we come up with ideas creatively? Do you remember? We use some particular technique.
Brainstorming.
There we go, brainstorming. We call the first one pre-writing. Remember that? This is what we do before we write. Now remember, this here, right here, pre, okay, do we know what that is? Before, right? So that has a meaning. So before we write, the meaning of even just the smallest part of a word, it tells us something about that word. And pre-writing, the one that we decided we'd do first, was called brainstorming or listing. You remember this? Who knows what a brainstorm is? It's cloudy skies up in your head. No, that's not it. Maybe it's a head cold brainstorm? No? What is a brainstorm?
Random ideas.
Well, it's not just random ideas. It's writing down. Go ahead.
Giving more ideas.
It is giving more ideas. Are they specific in any way? No? So, let me do this as an example. If I were to pre-write for one of the paragraphs that you read over the weekend, the subject, I would say, had something to do with this. Remember that? Remember reading something about that? Okay, having to do with education and nursing education? Okay, now, hang on. If I'm going to brainstorm the word nursing, am I going to say chocolate?
No.
No, probably not. Am I going to say automobile? Probably not. What are the words that I would associate to nursing?
Health.
What?
Medical or health.
Okay, health. What else?
Education.
Education. That's fine. What else?
Hospital.
Hospital. Good. Even the simplest of terms. What else?
Caring.
Care. Good. What else?
Sick.
Sickness. Okay? Good. That's enough. When we're brainstorming, let me ask that question again. When we brainstorm, do we specify the terms or connect them to something?
Yes.
We do. We connect them to what we already learned was up here, our subject. Okay? That's how we come up with ideas for our writing, is to use this one technique, just to start. That's our first technique, okay? All right. So we did a little bit of this. A little bit of this. This was more writing. Okay, this is writing based. Or paragraph. Okay, writing based. All right, you remember this? That's our review for that. Okay. Now we're going to look at one other structure, and it has to do with a sentence. Who can remind me what a sentence is?
Subject, verb, idea.
There we go, a subject, verb, and an object. Those are the three parts that we want to focus on, right? That is called simple sentence structure. We studied this a little bit. And that's important because we have to make sure that we can communicate our purpose to our audience about our subject. So each paragraph that we write has to have a subject in our sentences, correct? Is that right? Every single topic sentence, and we're going to talk about that later, has a subject. And we know that a subject, based on our study, answers which questions? Our subject,
Who, what, where?
who and what. That's right, not the where so much.
Who, what?
We're going to learn the where later. Who and what. So this is a good review. Who and what. Okay? And that's doing the action or that expresses the thought. So, and then we talked about parts of speech. Remember this? So notice how all of these things connect. Parts of speech. Okay, what is a part of speech? What part of speech? Do you know?
I got my head full of verbs from last Monday.
Verbs from last Monday? Okay, good. That's good. We're going to get back to verbs. That's all right. What's a part of speech? Who wants to help me out with this one? Go ahead.
Was it the article, the and?
That is an example of a part of speech. Well done. That's an article. Good. But what does parts of speech mean? Words.
It's the function that a word has in sentence.
There we go. It's the function that a word has. Now, function that a word has in writing. Writing means sentences, paragraphs, essays. Okay? The function that a word has or is used for. Now, why does that relate to your homework? Do you remember your homework? Remember back in the day when I gave you guys vocabulary? I gave you a week off last week. Why does that relate? How does the part of speech of a word, Sandra?
Because you were talking about nouns and the person in general, person, place, or thing.
That is true. A part of speech is in fact, one example is in fact a noun, person, place, or thing. But why does that relate to our homework? How does that relate to our homework? Do you remember
Definitions.
definitions?
Definitions and changing that into nouns. You were describing or writing a sentence.
That's what it was. So it was writing sentences, right? And we know that if we are using our part of speech correctly in our sentence, that's going to clarify the meaning of the sentence, right? One of the biggest challenges that this class has in relationship to getting good, solid points on its homework, on your homework, is making sure that the part of speech of each of the words is correct. See, you can't just say something's a noun, but then use it as in a sentence as a verb. Do you follow? You understand that? So that's kind of where we had some disconnect. So we're working on that. We're going to work on that. So let's look at our sentence really quick. There's one new piece of information that I want to add, okay? Because eventually we're going to learn what a clause is. Okay, not like Santa Claus. Different clause. Okay? So a clause. So if I have a sentence, okay, a simple sentence, it has three parts, which makes it complete, and we call it an independent clause. Are you an independent person, Brian?
I would like to think so.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're pretty strong-willed.
Yeah.
Seem like you got a pretty strong voice. You're a pretty independent guy. You're not dependent on a lot of people. Perhaps you have some people around that support you, right?
Of course.
But you're independent. So if Brian stands alone as an independent individual, that means that he's well-formed, right? The same is true about a sentence, okay? A sentence that is well-formed, has the subject, verb, and an object in it, can stand alone. It's independent, okay? It makes sense with just those words, okay? That's the meaning. It's in that sentence. So we call that an independent clause, okay? Let's go back to what we've learned here. Let me find my eraser. Go. Okay. Everybody have the top part? Paying attention to this review? It may become useful at the end of the class. Okay. Just saying. So let's get back to our parts of speech specifically. Okay, what have we learned so far? What was the first one? Well, we studied the subject, and we know that that's either a noun, which is a person, place, or thing.
Yes.
Good. And what else have we studied? Pronoun. Remember that? We call that a what? A replacement. What kind of word does it replace?
Noun.
Noun. Good. And then what else have we learned?
Proper noun.
Proper.
Oh, good. Proper
noun.
versions of nouns. And what are those? Names,
Person's
Specific
name.
Titles
titles,
with capital letters.
and it has capitalization.
Capital letter.
Nice. Okay. And what about the other kind? Common. Are those right? Do we have those? Common nouns? Give me an example of a common noun.
Tables.
Yes, tables. Tables is one. Sandra, did you have one? Common noun.
Common noun. Paper?
Paper, there you go, that's one. So just, nicely done. So basically, it's any noun that is general instead of specific. Okay? So there is our common noun. What else did we study? What else did we study? We studied a couple other words in this, I think, didn't we? What did you say a while ago, Laura?
Called the article?
The article, right? There we go. We studied what an article is. And what are the examples of the article?
The.
The, a,
Yeah.
and what do those things do?
They
What's
tell
the
you-
point of-
They
they-
tell us a noun is coming.
There you go, nice. They introduce or tell us when a noun is coming. Introduce a noun, good. Anything else? I thought we did a couple other things too. Did we do anything else?
Just
did verbs.
speech.
Verbs, there we go, verbs. There were 3 different kinds of verbs, weren't there?
Action
There.
verbs?
Action,
Linking.
linking, helping. What's the point of a verb?
Speaks to action.
It states the action, sure, but even more than that, what does it do? We learned this last Wednesday, remember? Remember, what does it
Tells
do?
It links to the
tells
subject.
the number and tense.
Here we go. It tells the number, all of these, number, it has to associate plus tense. Okay, so what is it actually telling us? Do you remember what I said tense equals? Tense equals what?
Time.
Time, there we go. So what question does it answer?
When.
There we go, when. Nice, you guys are remembering a lot of information. So an action verb is literally that. It's the action of the subject, right? Action of a subject. Okay? A linking verb, what does that do? A linking verb, you guys are going to have to know this in a while. Joseph, what does it do? What's a linking verb do?
It links the subject with
It links the subject with the what? SVO.
the object.
Action.
With the object. There we go. And the verb is the linking agent. It's the linker. Okay? It's what links it. And then we have a helping verb. What does that do? The answer is sometimes in the question. What does the helping verb do? It helps. There we go.
Helps
So
describe the
it
verb.
forms
A group of words.
a verb phrase. And why do we use helping verbs most of the time? Because what does it do? Remember? What does it do?
It gives a.
Tells us
specific-
when.
Specific time.
Yes, it changes the time, right? Changes time. All right, now, I need you guys to come up with an example of an active verb or an action verb. David, what's an action verb you can think of?
Jump.
Jump. There we go. Good. Nicely done, David. Jump. So our action verb right here is jump. What about a linking verb? Who should I call on? Linking verb, thank you, sir.
Is.
Is. Yeah, I guess we could say is a linking verb, but I think there might be some better options there. Is.
Will jump.
Will jump? No, that's a helping verb, and is most likely, more often than not used as a helping verb. That's why I don't want to use that one as our example.
Jumping.
Jumping? No, that's still action. That's still, yeah. Remember, it links something to another.
Sounds.
Sounds like. Or, how about seems? Let's use that word. Seems. You remember that?
And Bessie seems.
Thinks,
Yeah.
seems, sounds like, tastes like, right?
Feels. Like.
Feels. Things that we can't actually do, that we can't physically see happen, but are still actions in some way, right?
Appear.
Good. Well, and then what, you want to say that word again? What was one of our,
Appear.
you said it, is?
Yeah.
What about will? How about that? Like helping verb, will jump. Which one's the helping verb?
Can.
Will.
Will. And what's the main verb?
Jump.
Jump. Okay, remember that? Okay, now that brings us to our new information for the week. Okay? New information. Everybody understand these things that we've covered so far in class? You guys have covered a lot of information and become much smarter over the course of this last couple of weeks in relationship to the English language. So be proud of yourselves for that. I know I am. Let's continue. Okay? Let's continue with that. So I want to make our sentences more interesting because make fire is probably boring to most people, right? Okay, we don't want to speak like cavemen and women. We want to speak like intellectuals and intelligent college students, so we have to make them more descriptive, right? But before we can do that, we have to understand a couple of quick terms. First of all, I almost forgot. With verb tense, we know there are 3 kinds we've studied. What were those? Let's review them. What were they? Do you remember?
Past, present, and future.
Past, present, and future, right? Good. Sandra, why don't you give me an example of a past tense verb?
Like ending in ed.
Yes,
You add
perfect.
ed for past tense.
Good.
Like, for example, he said jump, so jumped.
Jumped is a great example. So our past tense jumped. Good. Let's look at what our subjects can be called. Again, remember, the subject of the sentence is a noun or just a noun or a pronoun, right? But in this case, new information. The subject can be simple or complete. Simple or complete. Who wants to give me an example of simple? If I were to say, how about this? The windy day blew off my hat. The windy day blew off my hat. What's the subject?
Day.
Wind.
Good. Day.
Day.
Good. Day. That's a simple subject, isn't it? It's all right. It's just the noun. You remember this? I know I'm not writing it down, so it's hard to picture in your mind, but think about it. The windy day. Okay? Windy day. The windy is not really going to do an action, right? The windy blew off my hat. That doesn't make sense. If you said a different word, what would it be?
Wind.
Wind. Good. That would be a noun. So that would be our subject. So the subject can be simple or complete. So simple is the noun or pronoun only. Okay? So simple subjects are only a noun or pronoun. Okay? And we've already learned this information, so you should have no problem identifying those. A complete subject is where we come into new information for you guys. First time you're hearing this in class. A complete subject is the noun or pronoun plus the words that describe it. Plus the words that describe it. Okay? Okay. Now, we're going to do a little practice as kind of our warm-up for action today, for you guys actually doing some written work. I want to finish this handout today, right now. Okay? So I want you to have this in your desks, and then we're going to move forward and we're going to start looking at prepositional phrases today. Prepositional phrases, okay? So get this out. Everybody has it in front of them? Let's do the first one together. We are looking for 3 parts of a sentence. Remember what those are. What are they?
Subject.
Subject, verb,
Object.
and an object. These are the things that we are looking for. This will tell us whether or not our sentences are complete.
Sorry, could you tell me again which sentence? Number 1?
We're working on number 1. Yes. Okay?
Okay.
So number 1, we are looking for whether or not our sentences are complete independent clauses. Do they have all the parts of speech necessary for them to make sense? Okay? So let's go around the room and see if we can do this together. So why don't we start with Laura? Do you mind reading it as it is?
No. In the plane, the tour passengers.
Good. In the plane, the tour passengers. Is that a complete sentence?
No.
No. What is our subject of the sentence?
Plane.
Nope.
Tour, passengers.
Passengers is our simple subject. Now, let's look at our next word here. Complete subject is the noun or pronoun plus the words that describe it. Which words are describing the passengers?
Tour.
Tour. So what is our complete subject?
Tour, passengers.
Tour passengers. So, number one, is that a complete sentence? No. It's not independent because it's missing which words?
An object?
Action.
Verbs or an object, potentially an object. We don't know. We could say the tour passengers were sitting in the plane. And then we have our object, don't we? Number two, Maria.
They slept lightly as the plane flew through the sky.
Good. They slept lightly as the plane flew through the sky. Well done, Maria. Maria, is that a complete subject, a complete sentence for there? Is that a complete sentence?
I will say yes.
I would agree with you. I think it is. Nicely done. Why is it?
They're saying they.
Okay, they, which is our what? Our subject. And what part of speech is that, Maria? Oh, what is they? Not a noun, it's a replacement noun. What do we call that? Remember?
Yeah, she said pronoun.
Oh, you said pronoun? I thought you said noun. Thank you, Maria. Pronoun, it is a pronoun. Okay. And what is the verb, Sebastian? Number two. Oh, you don't have it with you. Okay, I'm sorry. That's all right. Why don't you work next closely to Jennifer there? Jennifer, why don't you help me out with the verb in number two, okay? What did they do? Are they flying in this, or was the plane flying in this particular sentence?
The plane.
The plane flew, but we're talking about the passengers again, aren't we over there, guys? Hello?
Slept.
So Michael, what's the word that I'm looking for? I don't know, because you guys aren't paying attention. You pay attention, please. That's okay, thank you. Number two. They is the subject, and it's a pronoun, and slept is the verb. Good. Is there a word that describes the verb?
Yes.
Lightly, right? Okay, good. So, two new parts of speech introduced today. An adverb and an adjective. An adverb describes, what do you think?
A verb.
And what do you think an adjective describes?
A noun.
Ah, there we go. We're making our sentences more interesting. So if I look at sentence number one, what kind of passengers? Tour passengers. What's the word tour in this case? What's it being used as? Is it being used as an adjective?
Adverb.
No, describing a noun.
Adjective.
Adjective. How about number two? They slept lightly. How did they sleep?
Lightly.
Lightly. What word describes how they're sleeping? Lightly. It's an adverb. Okay, we're going to learn this over time. You're going to get the definitions. We don't have to know it right off the bat. Don't worry. Okay, but I'm just trying to get some information out so you guys can start to see some of these words and the terminology. Remember, I always repeat myself every class so that you get to see all the information you need. How about number three? Who wants to do number three for me, please? Yes, Maria?
So we had to underline the whole.
All I want to know is whether it's complete or not. That's it. Just have to put a C next to it or no C. You can put an X through the line if you want it to be not a complete sentence.
Because the first one wasn't a complete sentence,
The first one was not complete.
so I just.
It was
put a
missing the
line.
verb. The second one was complete.
Was complete.
Elvis, you want to go ahead?
Sorry. Okay. The rocking motion of the plane was somewhat disturbing.
Okay. What do you think? Is it complete?
Yes.
I agree. Tell me what the subject is, Elton.
The,
Motion.
Yes, motion. Nice job, Amanda. The motion, right? So the rocking motion. So what is my complete subject?
Rocking motion.
Rocking motion. Nice. And what part of speech is the word rocking, Elvis?
It's describing the noun, so it's an adverb.
Nope.
No, adjective.
Adjective. Nicely done. That's all right. That's good. What's the verb here, Saul? What do you think? Thanks, Elvis.
Was.
Was. Nicely done. Was. Let me think here. Was somewhat disturbing.
Yeah.
The rocking motion of the plane was somewhat disturbing. Was disturbing. Is disturbing to disturb, is that a verb? Yeah.
To
But
disturb
in this
is a
case,
verb.
but it's not
It's-
used
it's
as a
a
verb
noun.
here.
Right, yeah.
Good. Was disturbing. Good. It's describing how it was, right? Okay. Let's move on to number 4. Number 4, somebody new, please. Uriel, you want to take it?
Yeah.
Oh, then we'll come back to you.
Kind of had a question about
Yeah.
the, you said was the verb,
Yes. Was. Was is the verb.
and then, what's it called? Disturbing would be like the object.
Right.
But also an adjective.
Right, and I don't want to get too far into
Oh.
the descriptive terms, just because I don't want to confuse people, but if that's okay, Johnny, is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's just stick with the basics for right now, and then we'll move forward with more information about adjectives and adverbs later on as we continue our study, okay? Uriel, could you help me out with number 4, please?
Yeah, they flew under their heads and like blankets over them.
Okay, is that a complete sentence, Uriel?
No.
It is not, you're correct, because it's missing something. What is it missing? There's a verb, nothing's happening. This is just a descriptive phrase, a prepositional phrase. We're going to learn what those are today. We're going to work on those today. Okay, I want you guys to try to figure out 5 through 20. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of them. But you should be able to read them and decide whether they have a subject, verb, and an object, all on your own. I have faith in you. So do them quickly. Read the sentence, write C if it's complete, and write nothing if it's not complete. Okay? If you don't have it, work to help someone next to you. Okay? Thank you, David. David, all of you. Oh, you know what I'll do? I'll put it, huh?
Can I take a picture and get it on the...
I can put it on the overhead for you. How's that? And you can look at it there. If you don't have it with you, it just takes a second for it to warm up. The rest of you just read through the sentences and determine whether they're complete. Number 5 through 20. Yes, absolutely. finish early, you can start writing down what's on the board. Okay, so let's work on these together. So let's look at number 5. Many passengers slept. Everybody who thinks that this is a subject and verb and an object sentence, raise your hands. Complete? Is it complete? Many passengers slept. Not a lot of you do. Okay, so what's our subject?
Passengers.
Good. And what's our verb? Good. So is that enough to tell us information that's complete? Absolutely, right? Because you wouldn't say many passengers slept with much else following it, maybe with their feet in the air, right? But other than that, we're pretty much okay with that information. How about number 6? Outside the plane's cabin. Oh, I'm sorry.
Complete?
What's that?
That
That
was
is
complete?
complete. Yes.
Complete.
The action is sleeping.
But it's only 3 words
That's
to make
fine.
a sentence?
That's all you
I
need.
thought that wasn't enough.
No.
It's a simple.
There is
sentence.
never a proper number of words in a sentence. A sentence can be as simple as I ate.
Oh, true. Okay.
Good.
Okay.
Okay. Number 6. Read it for me, please. Somebody. Somebody. Thank you, sir. Johnny, go.
Outside the plane's cabin, the stars shone.
Outside the plane's cabin, the stars shone. Complete? Incomplete?
Complete.
Complete. Good. Has a subject? What is the subject? Stars. Stars. Don't get confused with those phrases in the beginning to describe things. We're looking for just the subject, okay? How about number 7? Somebody read it for me. Saul?
Like small fireflies in the dark.
Incomplete or complete, Saul?
Incomplete.
Incomplete. Why? Don't worry about the notes. We'll get back to those. Focus on what we're doing in class right now, please. Thank you. So, like small fireflies in the dark. I don't want you to miss this.
There's no verb.
There is no verb. There's no action. Nothing's happening, right? Nothing's happening. Good. Okay, how about number 8? Somebody please. Can we just go around the room and make it easier for me than having to ask people to read? Thank you so much. Go ahead.
In most cases, smaller children slept on their parents' lap. I'm on the right one, right?
Yes? Is it complete or incomplete, Michelin?
I would say complete.
I would agree with you. It has a subject, a verb, and an object, right? Good. Jennifer, take the next one.
People with older children were free to roll over on their beds.
You think so? I agree with you. What's our verb in that sentence? People with older children. Are we sure that it's to roll over?
No, we're free.
Yeah, free.
Free.
Is free an action? Can you free something? Oh, you can free something, can't you? But in this case, is that correct? No. Is there a verb phrase in here? What's the verb in here? Come on, guys. What's the action? Were. There we go. Were. There we go. You guys have to identify some of these a little bit. So were. Remember, think about what's happening. That's the question. What is happening? Okay. In this case, they're just being. They're allowed to be something. They're free. Okay, how about the next one, please? Just keep moving around the room. Sebastian? Read it out loud, please.
That they wanted to sleep in a more comfortable position.
You think it's complete? Let me ask you this question. Would you walk up to someone on the street and say, if they wanted to sleep in a more comfortable position, would you say that? Probably not, right?
No, didn't make sense.
It doesn't necessarily have a complete and independent thought. So we need to find our subject, right? And we need to find the action that's happening, right? This is more like a question, but it leaves us open-ended. There's really no point in asking this question. It's like a statement, sort of like a descriptive statement, right? So we don't want to say that this is complete. And this is definitely not complete. Let's do number 11. One more, actually, just get through them with Beatrice and then we'll take a break. Beatrice, help me out, number 11. Were you just yawning? Well, you got stuck with the yawn. Good. Sorry.
After the flight, the passenger walked to the baggage.
Carousel.
Yeah. Passenger is the subject.
Good.
It's a complete sentence.
It is a complete sentence, and it has the verb what?
Walk.
Walked. Nice. Jessica, how about number 12, please? So number 11 was complete. Number 12. This is great practice for you guys. You're going to have to do it in a little bit, so pay attention.
Some bags jumbled together on the waiting ramp.
Okay? Some bags jumbled together on the waiting ramp. This one's challenging.
I said it.
You said incomplete. Okay, now, in this particular sentence, jumbled together. Some bags jumbled together on the waiting ramp. Is jumbling really an action? It's more of like a, it seems like an action, but it's almost like more of a descriptive term, huh?
They were jumbling together.
So if you said some bags jumbled together on this carousel,
They're still doing an action.
that's an action, right? But if we're describing the bags, we're saying that they are jumbled together bags? No. So in this case, I'm going to say it's complete, and I'm going to go ahead and agree with you on that, Jessica. Nicely done. So our verb is, believe it or not, our verb in this sentence is jumbled. Can that be a verb?
Yeah,
To jumble? Are you sure?
Because it's doing something.
we're jumbling.
What do you think? All in agreement?
Jumbled, yeah.
I'm going to say that this one's an ambiguous statement. I'm going to have to see if you guys can maybe find out if the word jumble.
So is it complete? Because she said it was incomplete.
I think, oh, I'm sorry, Jessica. I think it's incomplete.
Complete.
In most cases, this would be descriptive word, but it's actually, in this case, I think it's actually used as a verb. Right?
Both?
Yes. Number 13. Go ahead.
The passengers were required to show tickets. I'll say a complete sentence.
I would say it is a complete sentence as well. Nicely done, Joseph. And how about number 14? Go ahead, Mike.
During the trip to the hotel,
Incomplete, right? It's just telling us when something occurred, but we don't know what actually happened, right? It's not telling us what happened, it's just telling us when it happened, during your trip, right? Good. Now, number 15. We haven't heard from you yet today, Carlos. Did I just call you Carlos? I'm sorry.
It's Ruben.
It's Ruben, that's right.
Yes,
Is your last name Carlos?
Cardenas.
Cardenas, that's what it is, okay.
Close enough.
Bags were
I had it.
carried on top of the bus. Complete?
The bags were carried on top of the bus. Is that agreed? Is that agreement all complete? You guys think that's all complete?
Yes.
I agree with you too. Yeah, nice job. And how about number 16? Go ahead, Mary. Thank you.
The hotel was on the Sunny Street. Complete.
Complete sentence. Good. Well done. Has all the parts that we need. Subject, verb, object. And number 17. Brian.
Many street vendors selling their colorful wares to the tourists. Complete.
Ooh, I don't know about that one.
Selling. No,
Right.
They're selling.
But let's read that sentence again.
Selling.
Let's read that sentence again.
Many street vendors.
Now, if they had said many street vendors sell, but in this case, it's talking about many street vendors selling their colorful wares to the tourist. What did they do? They are not, in this instance, the selling their street wares. Isn't that descriptive? It's talking about who these particular vendors are, right? They are the people who are selling these things. But that's not the action they're doing in the sentence. That just describes who they are. You see that?
Okay.
Many street vendors selling their colorful wares to the tourists. What did they do? Do you see how at the end there should be something else? It's almost like many street vendors cut off that whole verb phrase